Well, what's great for the Eagles and what's great for the Rams is not so good for the Vikings and Sam Darnold.
Wait, I'm missing somebody.
Who you missing?
The biggest Sam Darnold supporter of all time.
Where you at the quarterback?
Before you got some holler for a second. Because I got
Chase Daniel, the quarterback, is not in the building.
Because he loves some Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He told me that he deserves $40-50 million a year. I said, Sam, hey, I got to call my dog.
Call your dog.
Call him up. Oh, hey, good morning. Hey, Chase. Hey, how you doing?
Good, bro. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Listen, real quick, I don't want to hold you up. I know you're a busy man right now, but you told the facility, you told America, you told the people that Sam Darnold was the guy. That Sam Darnold is a starter in this league.
He did.
That Sam Darnold would take the Vikings.
Not say star.
You said you talked like he was a star. So before I don't want to hold you up. Can you just apologize to the people out there that you were wrong about Sam Darnold?
Hey, Sam Darnold, you can't hold the football like that, man. That is one thing you cannot do is hold the football. 9 sacks, get rid of the football. The last 8 days, man, I hate to say it, but you probably lost yourself some money. I love what you did in the season, man. 14 wins, all for nothing. The most important 2 games of the year.
That's Chase. Hey, Chase, look, all right.
Hey, you got to do the show from home every day.
Look, good morning. Thank you for being. I didn't know it was Chase like that.
I miss you guys.
We miss you. Good day.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Just Simply Sports here with me. I'm Kaja. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that like and subscribe button. You guys, I knew that I had to watch the facility today specifically because Shady has been throwing some shade Sam Darnold's way all season long. He has been saying that he did not think that Sam was going to be the guy. And Chase was, as a former quarterback, he was rooting for the QB, and trying to speak some positivity and some life into Sam Darnold, and he did have a great season, you guys. 14 games, 4 losses in totality. I think 14-2 on the season or 14-3, something like that. I do have to say that I guess Shady had a point. I'm not going to discount the fact that he won 14 games in a regular season because that is still hard to do in the NFL. This isn't the NFL, and even a sucky team can still beat you any given Sunday. There's still NFL players, there's just, as I always say, there are levels to it, So I'm not going to discount the season that Sam had, especially because JJ McCarthy was supposed to be the starter, and then he got hurt, and Sam had to step in and carry this team, and he definitely did. I'm not going to say carried, but he was a huge part of the reason why this team was successful. I know that in this league, the QB gets all the praise when the team wins. No one really talks about how good the offensive line is. No one talks about, the tight ends, people really credit the running backs. The QB gets all the praise when you win, and when you lose, they get all of the blame. Me personally, watching this game last night, Sam definitely held onto the ball too long. I was like, Sam, get the ball out. I was yelling at the TV, I'm like, Sam, stop. He was driving me crazy with that. But they made sure. Again, it's a copycat league. So the Rams his defensive coordinator was like, let me see what the Lions did. Let me see what Aaron Glenn did. He just took that over and said, okay, we're going to implement that here. And we're going to make sure that, we make Sam uncomfortable. We get in his face, get in his space. We are rushing the shit out of him. They were knocking him down. But I think he held onto the ball. They said the average time was 4.8 seconds. That's a long time in the NFL world for a QB to have the ball in their hands. But at the same time, it is a team sport. And Sam Darnold could not find people who were open. They made sure that Justin Jefferson was covered, Addison was covered, like any place that he knew that where he would like to normally throw it to his, receivers and so on and so forth. They made sure that they had them covered. They limited his opportunities, and it was for Sam Darnold to beat you. I get it, because we know that traditionally he likes to stay inside the pocket. He's not one likes to use his legs that often. He did a little bit too late, like in the end of the third, fourth quarter last night, when the game had already gotten ahead of them, but traditionally he's not one that likes to run, so if you're going to stay in that pocket and hold onto the ball super long, then you're gonna get knocked down. You know what I mean? Like it's just no way around it. And poor Sam I am. I do think that Sam lost some money with those two performances because the regular season, and you have to have a good regular season to get into the postseason. So it's still important that you are successful, but in the big moments, you got to be able to show that you're still a starting QB in this league. Even if it's not with Minnesota, they might go back to JJ now, but you want to still show that you are a starting QB in this league, And I'm not sure if Sam did that because in the two last games that were on everybody's television screen or phone or a laptop, it wasn't a good look at all. It really, really wasn't. But I'm going to play some more of this clip, you guys, and I'm going to come back and ask you guys something.
Oh, no, that's how you start a show.
Hey, wow.
All year long, Shady McCoy, I don't think you've been more right about a take in your television career than your Sam Darnold take.
Thank you.
You said Sam Darnold would eventually revert back to this. Is Darnold's career as a franchise quarterback?
Oh, man.
Because we thought it was, is it over?
You got to slowly just hand him the clipboards and hand him the iPads. That's what he should be doing. Seriously, because I think he's a really good backup, right? But when you're asking a guy to go out there and be a star and be a franchise quarterback, what? You got to go on the road and win games. You got to go to playoffs and get in that atmosphere. The last 2 weeks, he's in a playoff atmosphere. And what he looked like? He's like the old Sam Darnold, right? So now when you hear about, seeing ghosts and seeing that, it looked like yesterday. Yeah. Couldn't hold on to the ball, didn't make the right decisions. I just think Sam Darnold, we put so much pressure on him. Just imagine like being a top 3 pick, right? It don't work out. And then you go to all these different teams and your career has been okay. Mm-hmm. And now you get to the Vikings, you play some good games. Now they throw you out to the front. He's the guy. He's not even used to that in the NFL. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I gave you the analogy of a superstar player, right? It's in a slump. It's not playing well. Eventually, that superstar player with all that confidence he played with is going to come back to being a good player. Yep. If you're a bad player for all these years, when you have a good period of playing well, just for a small moment, eventually, the bad player is going to show up. And if you don't believe me, ask the Lions. Or if you don't believe them, you just ask the Rams.
Yeah. It's got to be over the franchise quarterback, T. It's got to be because you can't look as bad as Sam Darnold looked, and you can't have as little equity as Sam Darnold has and believe to be a franchise quarterback in perception going forward. It's just not possible. 9 sacks. We haven't seen 9 sacks in a playoff game, but just 2 other times since 1982. 82 lost yardage on those sacks. We've never seen that in the history of football. Sam Darnold broke records.
You know what, you guys? It's crazy. I feel like you could find a stat for anything in the NFL or professional world of sports. You can find a stat for someone to be the worst at this, someone to be the best at that. I feel like if you look for something hard enough, you know what I mean? Something like this to talk about as a talking point of your show, you can find it, right? I also sort of mean like, Sam Darnold had as many sacks as the Vikings had points, right? 9-9 or whatever have you. Crazy, but it is true. You know what I mean? I'm always rooting for the underdog, you know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes we put people, not we, but I feel like sometimes the media, you know what I mean? Sports media, in general, ESPN and, NFL networks, so on and so forth, those different shows. I feel like sometimes they put these quarterbacks on a pedestal too fast, even with the Caleb Williams, coming from college. It's like Sam Darnold, I think it's number one, what it tells me is that I think he's capable of being a franchise guy in the right place, in the right system. I think that to me that's with any quarterback because you can be talented. There's levels and tiers, obviously, of talent. He's not at the same level of even Josh, Lamar, Patrick, Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? But I think we keep forgetting this is a team sport. Although I feel like Sam wasn't the only issue the past 2 games, I feel like when you get into the playoffs, your QB needs to be, if those things arise, like the defense is not defending and when all else goes wrong, I feel like your quarterback needs to be the game changer. And that's not who Sam Darnold is, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been a backup all these years, right? Everyone is not going to be a game changer. And I feel like we have to stop judging people on that ability. You have quarterbacks in this league, in my humble opinion, who are game changers, like Cam said, and he got a lot of flack for it, but it still rings true to this day. You have a lot of QBs who are not a lot. You have very few QBs who are game changers, difference makers, and then you have some who are game managers. And I feel like we have way more game managers in this league, in my opinion, my humble opinion, than we have game changers. So I feel like we have to judge Sam based off of that. It wasn't like the defense is doing their job either. Every single time Matthew Stafford got the ball, every single time he threw the ball, they got yards. The whole entire game, the Rams got whatever they wanted to get. They got out-coached on both sides of the ball, period. That's head coach, that's offensive coordinator, that's defensive coordinator. And what the hell happened to the defense? We were raving about this defense all season long, and nobody's talking about that. They're just talking about how bad Sam looked. And again, he looked bad last 2 games. I get it. But what happened to the defense? The defense that we were hanging our hats on. I said, I know they look bad in the Lions game, but I said, you know what? It's going to be the playoffs. That defense is going to show back up. They're not going to look as bad as they did the game in the Lions, but they look awful again. I'm like, what happened? Like, you didn't tell me. And this is just me as a fan. I had to have known. I knew that I said, okay, watch the Rams, the defensive coordinator, go and look at what Aaron Glenn did and how they were successful in stopping the Minnesota Vikings, and they did just same exact thing pretty much. They didn't do anything really different outside of the game plan that Aaron Glenn had laid out the week before. So I would think if I knew they were going to probably do that, then I would think you would know they were probably going to do that as well, right? So for you to come into this game and not have made any adjustments or something, to make sure that you had even at least a chance, and keep in mind you also lost to the Rams in the season, to me didn't make any sense. They were outcoached, they were outplayed, they were out hustled, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it was just not just all on Sam at all, if you ask me. I think we have to, if you want to be successful in the postseason, I think in the way the league is trending, in my humble opinion, I feel like you have to have or find those those QBs who are going to be game changers, because no more, unless you are a Joe Burrow kind of talent, can you just stand in the pocket and I think have success against some of these other quarterbacks, especially when their teams are just as talented as they are. The Ravens, but you got Lamar who can throw, he can run, you know what I mean? He can buy time, like he can extend plays and drives and so on and so forth. You can't just be anymore just in the pocket like back in the day, so to speak, and be successful. You got all the quarterbacks coming in. Michael Penix uses his legs. We see Jaden, that's how the Commanders won. They use their legs. He was using his legs, extending plays, especially, in key moments. You know what I mean? Those things make the difference. So I'm not going to blame Sam, for the loss. Obviously, he wasn't the reason that they won, and he needed to be the reason that they won last night, these past 2 games. And I don't think Sam has enough, or maybe he was just in his head. I think it's a part of it. I feel like it's a part of him that was still thinking about how awful he looked last week. And I feel like he kind of carried that again into this week, because he's not dumb. Like, you hear people saying about you, that you came into the league as a top 3 pick. That you were and back up all these years, you're finally in the limelight, in the spotlight, and that people are talking about you, about how good you are, how good you're not, how you're gonna crumble eventually, you're eventually gonna fall. So I think you hear all that. You like to pretend that they don't read it, they don't hear it, but I'm sure he did. I feel like he carried all that in, especially what happened last game into this game, as opposed to coming into it fresh, like this is 0-0 because it's the playoffs. I don't think he did, and the team as a whole just did not look good. The whole team, to me, just completely unraveled the past 2 weeks. Whatever they had success in the first 14 weeks, which is a long time in NFL to have success, so I'm not going to count Sam out completely, but it just fell to the wayside in the end. And it's not solely on Sam for me, you guys, so I would not give up on him, because you have JJ coming in who has not played yet in the NFL. He's come back from a serious injury. How will he look? Will he look the same? Will he look worse? Will just giving up on Sam and going solely on JJ get you back to at least where you were in the playoffs, or will you regress? That remains to be seen. But what do you guys think, though? I'm curious, and I will see you in the next video. I look forward to reading your comments.